She's like love, 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 and music. La la la, love, 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 love.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. This is my review for The Walking Dead. This is season 8, episode 9. It's back after the whole mid-season finale. Today's episode was, I think, like an hour and 15 minutes. And one, I hope everyone had a great weekend. It's getting ready for this whole new work week and everything. Yeah. But I'm a Walking Dead fan. I started watching it. I didn't start watching it from the beginning. Like, I waited to like season maybe 6 or something like that, when I went and binge watched the first 5 seasons and, went from there. But I am definitely a Walking Dead fan. However, I feel like this episode was very slow. But I think that's how this season has been. That was one reason why I had kind of stopped reviewing it before, because I'm like, I can't really get into reviewing it because it's so slow, and it'd be an hour worth of footage and it don't need to be that long. This particular episode was solely about saying goodbye to Carl, and I was so shocked in episode 8 when they showed that Carl had been bit and he was basically going to die. I was shocked. I was crying. I was very, very distraught. So while I'm happy they made this episode solely about everything that he had been through and what he had kind of sacrificed and his side of things, and him having to be honored in one way or the other because he has been on the show since it started, I also feel like it just did not need to be this long. I felt like they could have put some extra stuff in it besides what they had in it, because it was just like, it was them saying goodbye to Carl, and then it was Morgan and Carol going to rescue King Ezekiel. And I mean, it was just too much thrown in that did not need to be thrown in. Kind of how slow the scenes were going. It really could have been just an hour. We did not need an hour 15. I don't feel like that was really needed in my personal opinion. In the beginning, we see basically Michonne and Rick basically digging a grave. I knew that's what they were doing. And then we also see the moment that Carl was actually bitten. We all knew before that he was bitten when he was him and Sadiq was in the forest fighting off the walkers or whatever. We knew that's when he was bit. We just didn't see it. So we do see that part. We see Carl realizing, feeling the pain of being bitten, looking down, seeing himself being bitten, and knowing, well, damn it, I got bit. And, we then see, even throughout the episode, we see these dream sequences again with, Rick and his gray beard. And we see, Jerry's there doing things. Hell, we even see Eugene there talking about Judith can be his sous chef. So we see these whole dream sequences throughout the episode. And, we see Carl, going home, taking his shirt off, seeing the bite, bandaging his bite, and kind of just going on about his day. We see him like playing with Judith. We see him also writing notes to everyone. We see when he realized that Michonne has left because, again, she wanted to see the saviors, the compound destroy herself. So we see him finding that out, and which then makes him write letters to everyone thinking, what if they don't make it back before I die? So that's why he ended up writing letters to everyone. We even see him, taking Sadiq down into the sewer, him and Sadiq kind of hanging out or whatever. He's just really going on about his day normally as if, nothing is wrong or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's a lot or whatever. It is what it is, because it's sad to see this side of it. But again, I still don't feel like it had to be kind of dragged out for a whole hour. I felt like that could have been like the first 30 minutes of it. Instead, it was like, you know how The Walking Dead be sometimes. With Morgan and Carol, we see the part where Morgan is still across the street, basically, from the Saviors. And they're wondering why the Saviors shooting walkers. They don't have enough bullets to kill them all. And he's like, they ain't trying to kill all their asses. They trying to make a goddamn path. They're trying to get a path out. Because Morgan, for the most part, is really fucking smart, okay? He's also been around since season 1. Even though he was gone for a little bit of time between season 1 and we came back. I think he came back around season 5 or 6 when Morgan came back. So, he's realizing what they're doing. So at this point, they're under attack. So he's trying to leave and get out. He makes some noise for some walkers to come after him, but he does that so that they can kind of run into some of the other Saviors. Morgan is very, very smart, but I also feel like Morgan is on his little bloodthirst. Like he wants to kill everybody in his path. Like everybody gonna die. Anybody can get it. Morgan is on that tip right now. And, he kind of gets away, and that's fine. We then see Carol, who we knew from the last episode. She had basically helped the rest of the kingdom, the ones who weren't there, basically, and they're all kind of getting away too. So she was taking them to the cottage the cottage where she was staying. She's like, y'all will be safe here until we can get back. I'm going to rescue Ezekiel. And then we see Henry, the little boy whose brother was killed. He like, well, I'm coming too because they killed my brother. And basically, he wants some revenge, seeing how Morgan has taught him how to use the stick. Little boy, calm down. But I think it's the same thing as he's almost the same age as Carl was when Carl had to start doing things and realizing things and kind of no longer being a child. So, he's kind of at that age. And I think his thing is, they killed my brother and I want some revenge or whatever. But Carol was like, hell no, you can't go. So she's like, just go here, stay there, be chill, and don't do nothing, and kind of just go where you're going to go. I'm going somewhere else. Now, I'm going to finish up the whole Carol and them scene. Because we see a little scene, of course, everyone is down in the sewer. Rick, Michonne, everybody. Daryl, they all down there. Even the dude with the burnt face, right name I cannot remember right now for some reason. I didn't write it down, but I don't know why I didn't and why I can't remember his name. But whatever. Y'all know, he was a savior. Burnt face. He took Daryl jacket. He's an asshole. We don't really like him, and, he can die. You know what I'm saying? But we shall see what's going to happen with his character. But it is what it is. And, Rick is kind of trying to come to grips with the fact that Carl's dying. And he's thinking that the Savior is the reason he got bit. And Carl's like, no, it wasn't the Savior. It's okay. This was supposed to, this has to happen. Me dying has to happen. I got bit trying to bring someone back. It wasn't the Savior's, I just got bit. It was the kid from the gas station. I went to go get him. He wasn't the Savior. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I got bit. He trying to break that to his dad so his dad could know. And I feel like with Rick and both Michonne knowing that Zedick is kind of the reason why Carl got bit, because Carl was trying to bring him back, they're going to hold some kind of resentment for a minute. They're not going to welcome him all the way with open arms. He's going to have a hard couple of days, a hard couple of weeks, because in one way or another, they're going to blame him. But at the same time, Carl was right. It happened. I got bit. People get bit every day. It is what it is. So I'm going to cover this whole Ezekiel, Morgan, Carol thing. Ezekiel is being held by a couple of the saviors. I don't know the one savior name who has him. Ezekiel is on the point where my only point as king was to save my people. I did that. I know they good because Carol got them out. And so whatever happens to me, I don't care. If you send that I'm going to go back and that Negan gonna kill me, cool. I don't care. I did my job as king. And he's not feeding into the fear that the Savior is trying to get into. Like, do you hear me? You're gonna die. And he was like, I told you, but I told you I'm good. I did what I was supposed to do. And he like, because the Savior didn't say, everything was going good. You knew the program, everything was working. Up until Rick got here. Rick is the reason that all this is going on. And Rick is the reason it's all going on, but it's all going on for the good. It's not as if Rick came and made everything worse. It wasn't good living up under the Saviors. And it just took people a while to realize they did not have it good because they were basically being forced. They was almost like in slavery a little bit. Free slavery, but it was just not a good thing. And, Ezekiel to sound like, when Rick got here, I made a choice I could live with. It was one thing before he got here and we was just doing whatever. But once I was given a choice, I made the choice that I can live with. I could not live with myself keeping my people under the thumb of Negan. So I can live with my choice. Can you? Can you live with your choice? And he don't know. He like, I made my choice and now you have to make yours. And the guy Savior kept like thinking about like he trying to get into my head. I ain't trying to listen to that. The thing is, I'm gonna live, you gonna die. That's what it is, and ain't nothing gonna change. And we see Carol, and Morgan both basically come into the camp, and they know that they have Ezekiel, and they also think Henry is there, the little boy. Okay, you need to keep his ass safe somewhere, because Morgan says like I saw him and he's here somewhere. So they know they can't take all the saviors at once, so they just decide like we're gonna have to do what we have to do and take them out one by one or two by two, but we have to get Ezekiel back. And they basically go on a little killing spree. They killed 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 people, one by one. Morgan again is on this blood hunt because at one point when Carol was saying like don't worry about them, let them live, let's keep going to do whatever else, Morgan like nah, nope, they gotta die. And he's at a point where he like every one of them has to die, and after we kill them in whatever way, let's put the stick through their heads so they can't come back as walkers. And it's the Morgan from what season was that, when Morgan couldn't even remember Rick, and he had made that whole weird town protecting himself, and he was just on this, he was just different. Morgan's a little bit different right now. And I think it's because he feels like we keep letting them live, and we keep letting these damn saviors live, and then they keep coming back fucking us over. Like they keep coming back and things keep getting worse for us because we're letting these bad ones live, and it's not helping us. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna kill each every one of them. You gotta die, you gotta die, you gotta die. All the goddamn saviors has to die. And that's where Morgan is. And they like kind of move in on the guys who was holding Morgan, and they kind of realize something's going on because he on the walkie-talkie like, Garrett Jackson, I'm making up names at this point. He's calling for people so they can kind of leave, and he's realizing no one is responding. And then he starts to hear gunfire like, oh shit, all right, some things going on. Get him in the church. Get it. So they trying to get Ezekiel out from the open area. They go into the whole little stage. It was like a stage or I call it the theater. It's where he used to sit on his throne with Shiva. So they're in there trying to lock themselves down so that they can, shoot whoever comes in. And they kind of in there for a while. We hear a bomb go off or whatever. It was a whole bunch of just silence and then talking. But it was still Morgan trying to get... It was still Ezekiel trying to get the one savior guy to kind of surrender or not go through with killing him or take him to Negan. And then I'm like, when I heard the bomb go off at the front door, I'm looking like they ain't at the front door, they behind them somewhere. And sure enough, they come, they shooting and stuff, whatever. It's a whole shooting scene. And for me, it went from the bomb went off in the front. They all kind of got down. Then they all got up. Then Morgan and Carol are shooting. Ezekiel got down. And the next thing I noticed, Morgan was pulling some guy's guts out from a hole in his stomach. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Morgan, he literally put his hand in that man's stomach and pulled his goddamn intestines out. And I was looking like, he's a motherfucking monster. I was just like, whoa. I mean, it was an amazing scene, but I was like, how do we get here? Like, what the fuck just happened? And Morgan, again, he's a beast right now. He's just on that tip. And the one guy who was holding Ezekiel gets out. He's running out to get gone. So, Ezekiel and Kel like, okay, we have to go. We have to leave here. And Morgan said, we ain't got to go no goddamn nowhere. You want to know why? Because all the saviors is going to be dead. And I'm like, well, one of them's still alive. But Morgan gets his stick and he leaves. He going to look for him. So, Morgan goes to find the guy, and he do find him. And he like, look, basically, you got to die. And the savior sends him like, well, you don't have to kill me. Even if you kill me, nothing will change. You're going to wake up tomorrow. It'll still be the same shithole. So, there's a point in you doing it because, you can't beat Negan. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's going to change. And Morgan was like, no, that's not true. And then we see Carol and Ezekiel both coming to Morgan saying, hey, you don't have to do this. You don't have to kill him. You know, you're better than this. And Morgan like, no, I have to do it. I'm like, Morgan like, fuck y'all. Look, he like, look, every time we let them loose, things go wrong. And on one token, I completely agree with him, because my thing is, y'all should have killed Negan a long damn time ago. And not killing some of the saviors is kind of the reason that things have gotten so far gone. Like, cause for the past, 2 seasons, we done been up with Negan's, shenanigans, and everything is going crazy. Now we gotta fucking lose Carl, Morgan going crazy and everything. We've lost so many people in this battle. And it's like, just blow all the motherfuckers up. Just blow them all up, let them all die. It's a fictional show. It's okay. I feel like once you get through this battle, the story, because for me, I feel like the story is getting dull, because it's the same thing. Negan consistently wins. Rick's team consistently comes in one step too short to really win the battle, and Negan keeps winning on one way. And what the hell is Gabriel? Is Gabriel dead? Because Gabriel wasn't in this episode. I can't remember. Gabriel wasn't. Eugene wasn't. Well, he was a little bit, but not in the real sense. So it was a lot of stuff, like Maggie and them wasn't in this particular episode. We didn't see Jesus. We didn't see anyone basically from Hilltop. And this they mentioned Hilltop. We didn't see like anyone from Hilltop. So I don't know how to, that's popped in my head. But yeah, I feel like the story needs to change. Like, I'm so sick and tired of, oh my God, Negan. Oh my God, Rick wants to kill Negan. Oh my God, the garbage people. I'm kind of over it all. I'm really hoping by the end of this season, this part of the storyline wraps itself up and we can get something fresh and something new come season 9. That's my hope. So, as they're, kind of talking to Morgan to not kill this man, and he's saying, no, I have to do it. It has to be done. You then see a spear go through his neck. And I'm looking like, well, damn, how did Morgan do that? It was Henry. Henry come out the blue, and he stabs the man through the throat. I'm like, well, goddamn it, Henry. Okay. And Morgan looks shocked, to see that this kid killed someone for one. And even the kid is kind of shocked, and at one point we see Ezekiel telling him, it's okay. Everything will be fine or whatever. I don't know. Carl. The whole thing with Carl is, I don't want to kind of draw it out. In many ways, he just said his goodbyes to everyone. He talked to Sadiq about, Sadiq talked to him basically saying, I'm going to honor you because you brought me in, and, it's okay. And it was a lot of talking. It was a lot of talking. It was a lot of, Rick and Michonne just talking to him and everything. At one point we see Sadiq trying to give Rick and Michonne some medicine for Carl to kind of calm his fever down. And you see the way Rick and Michonne is looking at him, and they're kind of upset because, again, they still feel like he's the reason that Carl is dying. And, he says something medical, and then Rick says, so you were a doctor? He's like, well, I was a resident, before all this happened. And he's like, Carl, but he was a doctor beforehand. And I'm like, well, at this point, it doesn't really matter. And, like, Carl talked to Michonne and just says how things have to be better. At one point, he tells her how she is his best friend, and she says, and you are mine. We see him telling her, not to carry his death with her, to, be strong for herself, to be strong for Rick, to be strong for Judith, because I think he is aware his death is going to traumatize them. And he does not want them to live in that space and to feel like it's their fault he's dead, and kind of just take in that angry grief that could basically get them killed too. He just doesn't feel like things need to be that way, how they're living now. And that's the one little crazy part about it. We see how all the other group members leave because, the bombing has stopped or whatever. But Rick says that Carl isn't strong enough to be moved. So he and Michonne stay behind we see Karl saying goodbye to Judith, giving Judith the sheriff's hat, saying, it was dad's before it was mine, now it's yours. It gave me strength and made me feel like I was the strongest dad. I cried at that part a little bit too. We see Judith crying. I cried too. We see Daryl just saying to him, because he said, before mom died, she told me that I would best this world, but I didn't. He was like, but now you will, talking to Judith. And so Daryl kind of says, as he's taking Judith to leave, you saved all these people, which he did. So in one way or the other, he did best the situation because he saved so many lives. And that's when Sadiq was saying, I'm going to honor you because you showed people that everything they were doing, it really means something. Excuse me. And I'm like, okay, that's cute. So that was cool. When Karl telling him, you're stuck with us now. They basically get him out the sewer because, Rick did not want him to basically, die in the sewer, which I would completely agree with. And, they get him up top and, of course, everything is on fire because they didn't set everything on fire. So it was like one little house that wasn't completely burned out. So they were kind of in there, just kind of talking or whatever. And he and Rick was just talking over everything from the past 9 seasons. Don't really want to get into it. From the beginning of them being in Atlanta, from when they were at the prison, from Karl saying how he remembered how he shot a kid who had a gun, but the kid was trying to put the gun down and he shot him anyway, and how he kind of changed from that moment. And Karl kind of saying, Rick kind of saying to Karl, you were a kid back then, you were just growing up basically. And at this point, Karl is dying, he and Rick are crying. They're basically saying their goodbyes. We then see Karl saying how, you changed before and you can change again. You can be that same man who stopped fighting and let the people who you thought were enemies in. You can be that again. This can't be the end. You can't just kill everyone. It can't be this consistent fighting. Something has to be different. And when Rick was saying like, I can't be who I was, and Karl was saying, you can't kill them all. There has to be something after this, and you just can't kill everybody. And Karl then saying how he saw the future. And then we see Karl was the one seeing Rick with a gray beard, seeing all these dreamlike sequences, and he was telling Karl and Michonne, like, I see you with a gray beard, and I see Michonne is happy. I see, Judith is over. The town is rebuilt. It's thriving. Everyone is there helping and building and gardening and cooking, just being a whole community, and everyone is there. We see Eugene is there, we see Jerry. So everything that we have been seeing, these little flashes of older Rick, what we thought it was Rick hallucinating and seeing things, it was really what Karl was seeing, and we just didn't know it yet. And Karl telling Rick what he saw made Rick say, you know what, I'm going to make this happen for you. Now I just have to make it happen for you. And then we then see Karl pull his gun out, saying that he's strong enough to basically pull the trigger himself and take himself out. And saying that he basically he's grew up and he can do this now. And of course he's crying, Michonne is crying, Karl is crying, and then we hear a single gunshot, and Karl is dead. And I was like, I cried a couple tears. Because I'm like, they really killed. Like, Karl is really actually. I really felt like it was going to come back. It was going to be a whole new season. That Karl was going to get some magical blood-like cure in his blood. And he was going to survive it and not die. And he was going to be the cure. I really thought that. Like, I kept thinking, like, they're not going to really kill Karl. Like, he ain't going to really be dead. Bitch, he is really dead. I'm like. I was shocked. We see Michonne and Rick bury, dig a grave and bury him basically. And I'm like, they killed Karl. I'm very distraught, you know what I'm saying? And then even the ending scene is a dream sequence, and we see that even Negan is in this new world, and he's happy-go-lucky, smiling and playing with Judith. And I'm like, I don't know about that now. I don't know. And then the ending scene we see, because we had been seeing this dream-like sequence with Rick. We thought it was Rick, and we kept seeing Rick face look all tired and sweaty and dirty and tears in his eyes. And I thought from this episode, well, that must be him crying after Carl's dead, whatever. But the ending scene we see is really Rick sitting by a tree, and he's shot and he's bleeding. I'm like, look, y'all just buried Carl. Don't y'all try to tell us that y'all gonna also kill Rick by the end of the goddamn season. I won't deal with that shit. No. You can't kill no other main characters for like 2 more seasons. I know Morgan is leaving to go on Fear the Walking Dead. I understand that. But don't y'all kill off no more goddamn people, okay? You hear me now? God damn it, man. So that's my review of The Walking Dead. I hope you enjoyed. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. Until next time, people. Peace.